Spicy lady, breathe in slowly and exhale. This is your sacred space. No noise from the world, only the sound of your own power rising. You are not here to be light. You are here to become undeniable. Let every word you hear penetrate your subconscious. Speak them out loud. Claim them. Embody them. You spicy lady Sigma.
Welcome the Spicy Lady. Have you ever wondered why someone you thought valued you suddenly shut the door and never looked back? When it comes to a Sigma Spicy Lady, her silence and her decision to cut you off are not random acts. They are calculated choices rooted in deep self-respect. She is not someone who plays games or holds grudges for the sake of drama. If she removes you from her life, it is because she has already given you more than enough chances to show up, and you failed to meet her at the level she lives by. The Sigma Spicy Lady carries a strength that many do not understand. She values honesty, effort, and genuine connections. When she feels that someone is draining her, disrespecting her, or simply pretending to care, she does not waste energy in confrontation. Instead, she quietly detaches and protects her peace. That sudden distance may feel harsh, but it is her way of preserving her dignity and emotional balance. For those who have experienced this, it is not the end of the world. It is a lesson. The harsh truth is that you only get one shot with a Sigma Spicy Lady. But instead of seeing her decision as punishment, see it as a chance to reflect. Ask yourself if you have been authentic, if you have matched her loyalty, and if you have honored her trust. Because the truth is, when you value her presence, you never take it for granted. Let's dive into it. The Spicy Lady. Number 1, she does not cling to nostalgia. Nostalgia has a powerful way of holding people hostage. Many stay in friendships, relationships, or even family ties simply because of the memories they once shared. They convince themselves that the good times of the past are enough reason to tolerate emptiness in the present. But a Sigma Spicy Lady sees through that illusion. She understands that yesterday's joy cannot excuse today's neglect or tomorrow's betrayal. For her, the truth is simple but not easy. If the bond no longer feels real, if it has lost the honesty, depth, and respect that once defined it, she will not hesitate to let it go. It does not matter how many late night conversations you had or how many milestones you celebrated together. Once she feels the connection has turned hollow, she will walk away without second guessing herself. This choice may appear cold from the outside, but it is actually an act of self-respect. She refuses to live in the shadows of what once was. Instead, she makes space for what can be by cutting ties with relationships that have lost their truth. The harsh truth is that nostalgia is not love. It is memory. And memory, no matter how sweet, cannot replace the need for a bond that is alive, real, and nourishing in the present. A Sigma Spicy Lady never forgets this, and that is why she lets go without looking back. Number 2, she does not beg for effort. Most people are willing to beg for effort without realizing how much dignity they lose in the process. They cling to someone who gives them half attention, excuses, or delayed replies, hoping that one day things will change. A Sigma Spicy Lady does not operate that way. She believes effort should flow naturally from both sides, not something she has to drag out of you. That if she feels like she is carrying the weight of the relationship while you treat her like an option, she quietly makes her exit. Think about how this plays out in everyday life. Imagine showing up to a group project where you do all the work while others show up empty-handed. First, you may try to encourage them or remind them to contribute, but eventually you realize you are wasting your time. That is exactly how a Sigma Spicy Lady sees relationships. She is not here to pull teeth to get the bare minimum from anyone. Her love, her attention, and her loyalty are rare. They come in abundance, but only for those who truly value them. Once she senses that her effort is not being met with the same energy, she does not argue or demand explanation. She simply disappears, and it is in her absence that people finally see the difference between what she gave and what they lost. The truth is she does not vanish to prove a point or to play games. She does it because she knows her value and refuses to remain in spaces where she is treated as an afterthought. She understands that real connection should never make her beg for attention or consistency. And here lies the harsh reality. If you make her feel like an option, she will remove herself from your life, and you will be left with the heavy silence of her absence. That silence will speak louder than anything she could ever say. Number 3, she studies the way you handle her. Vulnerability is not something a Sigma spicy lady hands out freely. She understands how dangerous it can be to open up, to share her fears, her struggles, or even her dreams. When she does let someone in, it means she has chosen to trust you in a way she does not trust many. That level of openness is rare, and she watches very closely how you handle it. That if you use her vulnerability against her, even in the smallest way, you will never see that side of her again. Imagine someone giving you a glass ornament they have treasured for years. You can either handle it with care or toss it around carelessly. If you break it, no apology will ever restore it to what it once was. That is exactly how a Sigma spicy lady sees her trust. Once it is cracked, it can never return to its original form. Think about how this looks in daily life. Perhaps she shared a personal story with you, something that took courage to admit, and later you turned it into a joke in front of others. Or maybe she confided in you during a low moment, and instead of holding that moment with compassion, you dismissed it or threw it back at her during an argument. To her, those are not small mistakes. They are proof that you cannot be trusted with the most fragile parts of who she is. What makes her different is that she does not create a scene when this happens. She will not argue, explain, or beg you to change. She simply withdraws. The version of her that was soft, open, and willing to be seen disappears forever. What remains is a guarded version of herself that you can never fully reach again. The harsh truth is that her vulnerability is her gift. If you misuse it, you do not just lose her trust. You lose the rare chance to see the most genuine side of her, and once it is gone, it never returns. Number 4, she has a sharp radar for envy and jealousy. Envy and jealousy are feelings most people try to hide. But a Sigma spicy lady can sense them long before they show on the surface. Her instincts are sharp, and she pays attention to the small shifts in tone. The way your words carry a hidden sting, or the subtle joy you show when she struggles. She may not always call it out, but she notices. And the moment she realizes you see her as competition rather than someone to support, she makes her quiet exit. Imagine this in everyday life. You tell a friend about a new job opportunity, expecting them to celebrate with you, but instead they change the subject or downplay your achievement. Or maybe you share your progress on a personal goal, and instead of encouragement, they start comparing themselves to you. A Sigma spicy lady spots these reactions immediately. She knows the difference between genuine happiness for her and disguised resentment. The reason she cuts people off in such cases is simple. She values growth and authenticity, and she refuses to be surrounded by energy that wishes her downfall. Life is already demanding, and she will not waste it trying to convince someone to cheer for her. To her, real friends do not secretly keep score. They clap loudly even when it is not their turn. What makes her response different is how final it is. She does not stay to argue or confront you about your jealousy. She simply withdraws because she knows envy has a way of poisoning relationships slowly. Instead of letting it spread, she chooses peace by removing herself completely. The harsh truth is that if you cannot celebrate her wins, you cannot walk with her on her journey. A Sigma spicy lady would rather stand alone than walk beside someone who secretly hopes she stumbles. Number 5. She listens to how you speak about others. The way you talk about other people says more about you than you may realize. And a Sigma spicy lady pays very close attention to this. She listens carefully when you speak, not just to the story you tell, but to the tone, the choice of words, and the hidden intentions behind them. If your words are filled with gossip, disrespect, or betrayal toward others, she instantly concludes that it is only a matter of time before you treat her the same way. Think about this in daily life. Imagine you are sitting with someone who constantly ridicules their so-called best friend the moment they leave the room. At first, it might feel like harmless chatter, but deep down you know that the very same words could be used against you. That is exactly how a Sigma spicy lady processes it. She does not need to wait to become the next subject of your whispers. She already knows. Her reasoning is simple. Trust is built on consistency. If she hears you tearing down people who once trusted you, she knows her name will not be safe in your hands either. For her, this is not paranoia. It is pattern recognition. She refuses to keep people close who thrive on betrayal because she understands that words spoken behind closed doors can damage reputations, friendships, and even futures. And unlike most people, she does not warn you or confront you about this habit. She does not give second chances where loyalty is concerned. The moment she realizes your tongue cuts others down, she starts creating distance. You may not notice it at first, but eventually you will feel her absence. The harsh truth is that gossip and betrayal expose character. If your words constantly hurt others, she knows it is only a matter of time before they hurt her too. And rather than wait for that moment, she leaves. For her, silence and distance are safer than being close to someone whose mouth cannot be trusted. Number 6. She respects growth. Growth is one of the things a Sigma spicy lady treasures most. She sees life as a constant process of learning, stretching, and becoming. To her, every challenge is a chance to rise higher, and every season of life is an opportunity to evolve into a stronger version of herself. If she finds herself surrounded by someone who resists change and expects her to remain small just to make them feel comfortable, she quietly begins to pull away. Think of it like a plant. If you place a growing plant in a pot that is too small, it will eventually suffocate. It cannot spread its roots, it cannot reach higher, and eventually it withers. A Sigma spicy lady refuses to let anyone be that small pot in her life. She knows she is meant to expand, and she will not tolerate someone clipping her wings to satisfy their own insecurities. This shows up in everyday situations more than people realize. Maybe she shares her plans to learn a new skill or start a side business, and instead of encouragement, you tell her to slow down or not to bother. Or maybe she expresses her need to set higher standards for her life, but you keep pulling her back to the old habits you are comfortable with. At first, she may stay quiet and observe, but eventually she takes the hint. You are not growing, and worse, you are trying to keep her from growing too. For her, that is unacceptable. She will never sacrifice her future to protect someone else's comfort zone. And so she creates distance, not because she hates you, but because she refuses to betray herself. The harsh truth is this. If you cannot walk with her into growth, she will walk without you. She would rather face the unknown alone than stay trapped in a space that demands she shrink to be loved. Number 7. She cannot stand inconsistency. A Sigma spicy lady pays close attention not just to what people say, but to how they live. To her, words without matching actions are empty. You can make all the promises in the world, but if your life does not line up with your speech, she sees it as inconsistency. And nothing makes her lose interest faster than someone who talks about loyalty, love, or ambition yet fails to back it up with real choices. Think about this in everyday life. Imagine a friend who swears they value honesty but constantly lies to cover their tracks. Or someone who claims they are always there for you, but disappears the moment you need them most. At first, people might make excuses for this kind of behavior. But a Sigma spicy lady does not waste time making excuses for anyone. She notices the gap between words and actions. And once that gap becomes too wide, she quietly steps away. What makes her different is how she handles it. She will not start long debates or demand explanations. She does not need endless conversations about why you keep falling short. To her, inconsistency is already the answer. If you cannot live up to your own words, she knows she cannot build trust with you. And trust for her is the foundation of every connection. The silence she gives in return may feel brutal, but it is not done to hurt you. It is her way of protecting herself. Arguing with someone who has shown a pattern of inconsistency is like pouring water into a basket. No matter how much effort she puts in, it will never hold. The harsh truth is that consistency is proof of character. A Sigma spicy lady would rather walk away quietly than keep investing in someone whose actions never match their words. She knows that peace is found in alignment, not in excuses. Number 8. She does not see endings as loss. Most people view endings with a sense of fear or sadness. They cling to relationships even when those connections have long turned toxic, all because they see letting go as losing something important. A Sigma spicy lady thinks differently. She does not see endings as loss. For her, cutting someone off is not about punishment or revenge. It is about creating space for her peace to breathe again. She understands that peace cannot survive in an environment filled with lies, neglect, or disrespect. Holding on to someone who constantly disturbs her balance is like trying to sleep with loud music blasting in the background. No matter how tired you are, you cannot rest. So instead of forcing herself to adjust to the noise, she simply turns it off. That is how she treats relationships, that if the connection disrupts her peace, she chooses distance. Think about how this shows up in daily life. Maybe she once gave you her trust, but now the bond is filled with arguments, misunderstandings, and constant tension. While most people would stay out of habit, she views it differently. She knows peace is priceless, and she refuses to sacrifice it just to keep someone around. Her perspective is simple but powerful. Endings are not always the closing of a door. Sometimes they are the opening of a window. By walking away, she is not just removing negativity. She is making room for joy, clarity, and genuine connections to step in. The harsh truth is that if she lets you go, it is not because she hates you. It is because she loves herself enough to protect her inner calm. To her, endings are not the final chapter. They are simply the beginning of a new one where peace finally has space to live. Number 9. She looks at the long-term picture. A Sigma spicy lady has a mind that naturally thinks ahead. She does not just live in the moment. She studies patterns, observes behavior, and asks herself what this connection will cost her in the long run. If she sees signs that keeping you in her life will eventually lead to pain, betrayal, or wasted time, she does not wait for it to happen. She makes the hard choice now, even if it hurts in the present. Think about it like investing money. You do not keep pouring resources into something you already know will crash. It may feel tempting to hold on a little longer, but deep down you know it will end badly. That is how a Sigma spicy lady views relationships. She knows that ignoring red flags today will only create regret tomorrow, and she refuses to gamble with her peace. This shows up in everyday life more often than people admit. Maybe you have a friend who constantly dismisses your boundaries. At first, you might excuse it, but with time, those small acts of disrespect will grow into full disregard for who you are. A Sigma spicy lady does not wait for that explosion. She sees the direction it is heading and chooses distance before the damage becomes unbearable. What makes her unique is her willingness to endure short-term discomfort for long-term peace. She understands that walking away now may sting, but it is far less painful than carrying someone who will eventually weigh her down. Her strength lies in her ability to put emotions aside and think clearly about the bigger picture. The harsh truth is that her choices may confuse those who live only for the present. But for her, protecting her future self is more important than pleasing others today. That if she foresees regret on the horizon, she cuts ties immediately. To her, this is not cruelty. It is wisdom. It is choosing the path that ensures her tomorrow will not be filled with unnecessary scars. Number 10. She does not do temporary fixes. A Sigma spicy lady does not believe in patching what is broken just to keep up appearances. She does not do temporary fixes. That if she cuts you off, it is not about making you feel guilty or trying to prove a point. It is about something much deeper. Protecting her peace forever. Most people break ties with the hope of reconciliation. They leave the door half open, waiting for apologies or grand gestures to pull them back in. But a Sigma spicy lady is different. Once she makes the choice to cut someone off, that door is closed for good. It is not because she is cruel. It is because she knows temporary solutions only bring temporary relief. If the foundation is weak, no quick fix will hold. Think of it like a leaky roof. You can keep placing buckets under the drops of water, but until you repair the structure itself, the problem will not go away. In the same way, she knows that keeping toxic people around and applying emotional band-aids will only lead to repeated cycles of hurt. Instead of pretending things will improve, she removes herself entirely. This can be seen in everyday relationships. Maybe she notices someone constantly disrespecting her boundaries and apologizing afterward, only to repeat the same behavior. She does not accept those empty apologies as progress. She understands that true change is not about words. It is about transformation, and if she does not see real transformation, she steps away for good. The harsh truth is that her decision is permanent because her peace is permanent. She is not interested in temporary comfort at the expense of long-term suffering, that if she cuts you off, it is not about revenge, and it is not about teaching a lesson. It is about safeguarding her mental and emotional well-being for life. Once she chooses peace over chaos, there is no turning back. Number 11. She studies the pattern of your words and actions, and once she sees they do not align, she quietly decides she cannot keep you close. That a Sigma spicy lady pays close attention to patterns. She knows anyone can say the right thing in the moment, but time always reveals the truth. That is why she does not judge people only by their words. She studies how those words line up with consistent actions, that if she notices a growing gap between what you say and what you do, she quietly makes up her mind that she cannot keep you close. Think of it like watching a movie where the audio does not match the lips on screen. At first, you try to ignore it, but eventually it becomes impossible to enjoy because you know something is off. That is how she feels about mismatched words and actions. You might promise loyalty yet betray trust. You might preach kindness yet treat people with contempt. To her, those inconsistencies speak louder than your most convincing speeches. In everyday life, this might look like a friend who swears they will always be there for you, but suddenly vanishes when things get tough. Or a partner who constantly talks about respect yet dismisses your feelings in small, cutting ways. She notices these patterns, even if she does not comment on them right away. And while others may tolerate the inconsistency, she sees it as a clear sign of unreliability. What makes her different is how she responds. She does not explode or demand explanations. She does not try to guilt you into changing. Instead, she lets her observations guide her. And once she concludes that your actions cannot support your words, she quietly withdraws. There is no grand announcement, just distance that becomes permanent. The harsh truth is that alignment matters more to her than promises. Words can charm anyone, but actions reveal character. If she sees the two do not match, she will not argue or fight to make them fit. She will simply remove herself because peace is found in truth, not in contradictions. Number 12. She recognizes when her kindness is mistaken for weakness, and she cuts ties before the cycle becomes abuse. A Sigma spicy lady is naturally kind, but she is not blind. She understands that kindness can sometimes be misinterpreted by the wrong people. Some see it as softness they can take advantage of. Others confuse it with naivety and assume she will keep forgiving no matter how poorly they treat her. What they fail to realize is that she notices everything. She recognizes the moment her kindness is no longer valued, but exploited, and that is the exact point where she decides to cut ties before the cycle turns into abuse. Think about it in everyday life. Imagine offering to help a friend once or twice, and before long they expect it without even asking. Instead of gratitude, there is entitlement. Or picture being understanding with someone's mistakes, only to watch them repeat the same behavior because they know you will let it slide. To most people, these may look like minor issues, but a Sigma spicy lady sees them as early warning signs. She knows that if she allows the pattern to continue, it will grow into something destructive. What makes her unique is that she does not wait until the damage is unbearable. She is proactive. While others might hope that people will change or give endless chances, she acts quickly. If she senses her kindness is being weaponized against her, she chooses distance immediately. There are no dramatic confrontations, no pleas for change, and no bargaining, just a quiet but firm exit. Her real strength lies in protecting her boundaries. She knows her kindness is a gift, not a weakness, and she will never allow anyone to misuse it. By walking away early, she prevents the situation from escalating into something that robs her of peace or dignity. The harsh truth is that she would rather be labeled cold than allow herself to be trapped in a cycle of exploitation. That if you mistake her kindness for weakness, you lose access to it forever. And once it is gone, you realize too late that her kindness was never a weakness. It was her power. Have you ever stopped to wonder why some people refuse to hold on to what no longer serves them? That is the heart of a Sigma spicy lady. She does not cut ties out of spite or because she enjoys endings. She does it because she understands that her peace, her energy, and her growth are far too valuable to be sacrificed on the altar of someone else's comfort. Every decision she makes comes from clarity, that if you make her feel like an option, she will walk away. That if you misuse her vulnerability, you will never see that side of her again. That if your presence feels like a weight instead of support, she will remove herself quietly. These choices may look harsh on the surface, but in reality, they are her way of protecting her well-being and refusing to settle for less than mutual respect. And here is the encouragement you need to take from this. Her choices are not just about her. They are a mirror for all of us. Each of us has a right to protect our energy, to honor our growth, and to refuse relationships that only take while giving nothing in return. Too often people stay stuck in places where they are tolerated instead of valued. She reminds us that walking away is not a weakness, but a strength. So if you find yourself in her story, let it challenge you. Ask yourself, are you giving the same effort you expect from others? Are you honoring the trust people place in you? And most importantly, are you protecting your own peace as fiercely as she protects hers? The harsh truth is that she cuts off to protect her soul. The beautiful truth is that you can do the same. Choose the relationships that add to your life. Release the ones that drain you. Your future self will thank you for having the courage to make that choice today. Thank you for watching The Spicy Lady, and God bless.